Okay. And thank you all very much again for taking time out of your schedule to come on the People's Podcast. One moment, waiting on notification. Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have two incredible panelists with us tonight who are going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. And these are none other than the daughters of the legendary Dr. Moses Powell. First of all, how are you all doing?
We are great, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And the honor is ours. And on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, I want to thank you all very much for coming on. I want to, my sister Miriam says, peace, family, peace, Miriam. Okay, so I want to start with you, Cheryl. Is it Cheryl or Cheryl?
It's Cheryl.
Cheryl, yes, ma'am.
You can put your little accent on it. I won't be offended.
Yes, ma'am. So what is your favorite memory of your father?
My favorite memory is, well, there's several, but my favorite is his swimming ability. I remember we used to go to a pool in Brooklyn, and it was amazing to me that he could dive in the water and swim silently and be right next to you before you even knew he was, that far into the pool. And so I thought at that time, I was young, I thought that was a Superman event, that he was actually from somewhere else. How could you do that? I could never do that. I know Siddeeqah was a swimmer. I think my other sister Karima was a swimmer, and I could swim, but I was splashing all over the place. So for him to be able to do that with that body habitus that he had, it was amazing to me. Just imagine diving in. He was big and you couldn't hear anything. I think that's amazing.
Okay, great. And so many people are showing you a love in the comments. And what about you, Siddeeqah?
Funny enough, it's also a swimming memory. But he wouldn't swim, but we would, as a family, we would go to the beach when we lived in Florida. And just watching him, he didn't really want to go. I don't know if he didn't like the beach and he liked the pool, but he didn't want to go to the beach. But my mother made him go to the beach. So just watching him begrudgingly getting ready and to go and
bratty about it.
Yes, being made to go. And then we would get out there and he would just like to people watch and watch me, and very quiet man sometimes. Sometimes he loved to talk, but sometimes he just liked to watch and think and just wish somebody would.
Absolutely. Always wishing somebody would.
Like he should have worn a t-shirt that says, I wish somebody would.
Well, speaking of wishing somebody would, I'll start with you again, Cheryl. What about, did you ever get into martial arts?
Listen, I tried a couple of times. I mean, it's just not for me. I was just not great at it. I had gone to Little John had a school in, I think it was Columbia University. And so I went, I was brave. It was in my 20s. And I'm like, John, just don't tell nobody who I am. Just let me come in here and do what I do. He made an announcement. So from then on, they were checking me up. They thought that I had DNA of martial arts, and I did not. I have his hands and his feet, his nose, but I don't have that martial arts DNA. And so I didn't stay because they used to jack me up. Another time, like this is recently, before the pandemic, I was going to some of his older students and they would teach me how to box. And so the sister kept punching me in my face. I'm like, this, like what? She said, you got to duck. I said, but you keep punching me. She said, because you got to duck. So eventually I started ducking, but they didn't have no shorts about it. They just kept punching at you. So that, I did continue with that class, although I'm not great at boxing either.
Okay, so. Yes, ma'am. And once again, everybody's showing love in the comments. Thank you all for showing love to everybody sending you all peace and saying, assalamu alaikum, and just people just showing you love from
salam. That's so wonderful.
Okay. And now for you, ma'am, Sister Siddeeqah, what about you? What did you ever want to wish somebody would? Is that something
So what I have, I don't really recall training. I remember being present for classes and being on the mat, messing around, not doing what I was supposed to do. Hold on, Ma. Yeah. Did I train with Dad?
If you don't remember, you didn't. You would remember that.
Huh? Yeah, my mother said I didn't do any serious training.
Okay, yes,
So
ma'am.
what I took from him was his love for weaponry. So I have a collection of guns. I have a collection of swords. I also have a shot glass collection. Not a shotgun collection, but I do have a shotgun collection. But I remember in the house, there was always weapons in different places because he always said you never knew where it was going to go down. And so I take that to heart now as an adult woman in my own home, you know, so wishing somebody would. We're back to that.
Okay. Well, speaking of your mother, we often hear of your father, especially those who have any form of martial arts know of your father. But what about your mother? Can you let us know your favorite memory of your mother? We'll start with you, Cheryl, again.
My mother was a fearless, fierce woman. She, what I remember most of her, oddly enough, is when she was transitioning. And I had asked, she died of brain cancer in 2014. And I had asked her, is there anything you want to do? Because, you know, here we are. And she was like, no, I've done everything I wanted to do. And she did. I mean, her life was fulfilled. She did so many things. I could never catch up with her. You know, there's sometimes she would be absent. I'm like asking my other sister, have you seen Mom? Where is she? Finally called me back. She's in Puerto Rico. She's in Dominican Republic. So she was all over the place. So that fearlessness. And then she had a fear. Her and my father would go at it about being from, you know, when they had arguments, she thought she was tough, like she could beat him. You know what I'm saying? She thought she was. So she would say, I'm from Bed-Stuy. He's like, well, I'm from Harlem. And so they would have these battles back and forth. And me and my sister would be like, please. So she used to start stuff.
Okay. And what is your mother's name?
My mother's name is Betty Powell.
Betty Powell. Okay, great. And we may have everybody learning all this great history. So many people showing you all love in the comments. And for you, Siddeeqah, your mom?
My mom's name is Janice Powell. They call her JP. And I think for me, as far as memories, thankfully, I still have her here. We live together here in Atlanta. I'm very grateful that she's here. You know, everyone knew my dad as this force to be reckoned with. But at the same time, I think the women in his life were a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
Maybe the force to be reckoned with. And he was a very smart man because he knew that. So I think one thing he used to say was, you know, my mother couldn't beat him up, but that mouth. That mouth could cut.
Yes, ma'am.
Like a knife. So okay. That's the biggest memory for me. I think my mother ruled with an iron fist, you know, but everyone would assume that my father was the ruler.
But it was your mom's. Okay, great. And now speaking of your father, now Cheryl, with dating coming up, what was it like to for some reason, even though I like to fight a lot, I'm attracted to women whose fathers are either killers, black belts, something. So my whole life I've had to deal with the daughter of just some strong men. So I know what it's like on the man side to come and try to talk to somebody's daughter. What has been like being the girl and having a man wanting to meet your dad? What is that like?
Well, I think it was challenging. I didn't really bring a bunch of people to meet him because it was a bit challenging. Not that it was a bunch of people, but I remember one of my first boyfriends. I was young, but I looked older than what I was because I was tall and skinny. So I bought this boy. I told my father I'm bringing this boy home to meet him. And all I could remember is him coming in the house. My father took him to the back. He left out of there with a quickness. He never said anything to me. My father never said anything to me, and I never saw him again. So I don't know what happened. I'm looking at my mother with some reassurance, like what happened, and she's looking straight ahead, like, so that was like my cue. Maybe I don't need to bring people up in here, but he was a little bit older than me. So maybe that had something to do with it. That was a protection thing, but nobody ever discussed what happened with me.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. And for you, Siddeeqah, what was it like, wanting to introduce somebody to your father?
So my father and I were estranged during those years of my life. So he wasn't there. But when we came back together, as I was an adult in my 20s, there were a couple of instances of, we'll call them issues, that I had with a couple of men here and there. One in particular that was, I guess you want to call it, harassing me. It was very short-lived once he spoke to my father. I think something came up about being buried.
Yeah, okay.
I was after that.
So, but he was very protective. So if there was an issue and you brought it to his attention, he took care of it. It was silent, but you knew that it was deadly. It was deadly. He
had people everywhere.
Right, he had people everywhere. So you knew it was going to be taken care of.
Yeah, there was this guy at the time, I think I was running track for Georgia Tech, and I didn't want to talk to him. And he said he was going to come to my track practice, and he was coming to the practice whether I liked it or not. So I called my father, and I just remember a couple of brothers showing up at practice, and it's just, he may not be there, but he could reach out and touch you.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay, great. And we have just a few more questions for you all, but we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. And so many people are showing you all love in the comments. And this is an extraordinary event. While I'm pulling this up, okay, here we go. I'm gonna deal with this first because I have some more questions for you all. But for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, thank you all. For everyone who likes, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. 1 second. Okay, here we go. It's loading now. What do you all do? I'll start with you, Cheryl. What do you do for your on your father's birthday?
No, I don't really get into it that much. I don't really do much on his birthday. I acknowledge it, with my children, and we remind each other of things that we loved about him. They didn't know him that well, actually, because he had transitioned when they were kind of young. And so they don't really know that much about him. So we talk about what they do know about, but not necessarily just on his birthday, but in general, we'll do that. I'll remind them that it's his birthday. And so we'll all have a little moment, but it's nothing scheduled, it's not like that.
Okay, great. I'm coming back to you, Siddeeqah. I just got a quick 60-second commercial break. Here we are, boom. For all of the sponsors, I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Some people, oh my God. Okay, are you there? All right, here we go. All right, here we go. There we go. So many people are looking forward to this interview, and when I let them know, so many of your father's students reached out to me and said they couldn't wait to watch it.
Oh, really?
If you would like to be a sponsor or donor, please cash up the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera. He has a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of that. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Raw Communications, if you're working on a book and you want to do copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Raw Communications. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas, conflict mediation, squashing the beef in the community, does a great job. His wife, Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. Also, Fashion Gods Urban Streetwear out of St. Louis, Missouri. Their phone number is 314-329-6009. We're coming right back to our esteemed guest. Power Campus Online Learning. Do you want to improve your homeschooling experience? We're here to help. 770-847-0786. Ajax Minds, they teach, Sister Sherry Muhammad teaches STEM to young kings and queens virtually all across the country. AjaxMinds.com. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services, Brother Rashad Muhammad out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon.
Nice.
Thank you all very much. Okay, so now for you, Siddeeqah, what do you do for your father's birthday?
I don't do anything. I usually put a picture of him up on Facebook and wish him a happy heavenly birthday and just reflect, just reflect and think about him and just acknowledge him. It's still a very deep, deep, deep wound. So it's always a day that just, I prefer to go by.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, great. And my sister Miriam says she thanks you all both for this informative interview. Thank you very much. Okay, my next question for you all is, what type of music do you listen to, Cheryl?
I love jazz, of course, R&B, my little Mary J. Blige. And recently, some of the stuff that my children listen to, I don't mind, but I don't really like to tell them. But they'll find me like this on occasion,
Yes,
so I respect music. I kind of like all genres, but I prefer jazz.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And what about you, Siddeeqah?
So I don't have a specific type of music that I love. I love lyrics. I'm a lyricist, so I love lyrics. I fall in love with lyrics and beats. I've got my hood side, so I love my trap music.
Absolutely. That's what it's called, trap music? Okay, yeah.
I love that. I also like alternative music and rock and country and a little bit of everything,
Okay, that's a great thing. Well, for you, Cheryl, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy for my family?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I would love my children to be ambassadors of change. They're all on their entrepreneurial pursuits, and I want to make sure that they always know that they have to speak truth to power anytime they feel it's necessary. But I want them to always reach back into their communities and make sure they pull somebody up if they get up. I want them to move with love always, and they have to remember faith, family, and friends always. They have to stay balanced. And so we do talk about that all the time, because sometimes, your children are a little bit off balance. They're inspired by things they shouldn't be inspired by. So we have to have correction at times, but that's what I want for them.
Okay, beautiful. And for you, Siddeeqah, what about your legacy?
I guess I would like to, so my dream is to ultimately retire and write out in Arizona.
Okay.
And so one of the projects I want to work on when I move out that way is some type of film, short film about my father. I'm sure there will be many films and documentaries and things that people do to pay homage, and that's very appreciated. But something from me to him, is something that I want to leave behind for when I'm gone, and my kids and my grandkids and my sister's children and her grandchildren, and to be able to watch and learn about their grandfather and great grandfather.
Beautiful.
And just to piggyback off of that, I do want to somehow strengthen my father's organization and Sanuka's Jiu-Jitsu. I want to put more quality, not that the organization doesn't have quality, but you have to move with the times. And I want to make sure that they stay current and that in their remaining current, that my children and their children and their children will be able to still move with Sanuka's root jujitsu. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to make sure that it's disseminated because he's in so many different states, but I want to keep that moving. I want to make sure each one teach one is actualized.
Yes,
I want to,
ma'am.
you know what I mean? I want that to be forever because the spirit of my father is forever. Sanuka's root is his life. It wasn't just his legacy, it was his life. You know, that was his life. People don't realize it wasn't a job. It wasn't, he didn't want to be a legacy. He didn't want to be a legend. He was living his life and giving his life to you on a silver platter.
Absolutely.
Whether you ate or not, that's what he was giving to you. And so sometimes that made him weak. Giving so much made him weak. But
a lot of sacrifices were made.
A lot of sacrifices were made. And I don't think, and when people are eating, they just kind of eat and they don't realize what it took to cook that meal. They just eating. And so I want to make sure that eventually people acknowledge and realize what it actually took for him to do what he did, what it took for us, for him to do it, for our mothers, for him to do it. They need to really recognize what that was or what that is.
Beautiful. Well, I want to make sure that I thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience for his sacrifice, but also this you all sacrifice as well. We definitely want to make sure that we thank you all for that, man, because I can only imagine what it was like being the children of the great Dr. Moses Powell. Did any of you all, did anybody like have a Moses Jr., like a child or like a son that y'all was like, oh, this is you're named after your dad or something like that?
Well, no, but he does have 4 grandsons. He has 6 granddaughters and 3 great granddaughters that he's never seen. My oldest daughter is starting to train now. She was a former dancer, gymnast, so she's actually pretty good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of it.
Okay.
So, you know, keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully, I think something, but I'm gonna shut up because, you know, when you say something, you know, it could dissolve things. So hopefully she keeps it up the work.
Okay, great. And for Siddeeqah, for you, I'm an actor, so if you need, you know, some handsome killer in your film, just let me know. You know what I'm talking about? Just keep me posted. If you want somebody to be, you know, to help you with that, I'm just volunteering. Just let you know.
Thank you.
Yes,
and you know what? Back to the training. I think for me, the issue is coordination. I'm not that coordinated, and my father's work was very artistic, very much like a dance, the movements. And I can't dance, and I can't do martial arts really. So I'll just shoot you.
Okay. Thank you for that, my God.
But the funny thing is, oddly enough, he couldn't dance. He wasn't a great dancer. He thought he could dance, but he wasn't a great dancer. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would just rather use weaponry and just be done with it, I guess.
And I have sisters, and you all remind me so much of my sisters. I mean, so much of the personalities, and everybody's showing you love on Facebook. I can't wait to put this on YouTube this evening. Thank everyone who likes, shares, subscribe to the People's Podcast. I look forward to meeting you all, hopefully one day in person, to carry this conversation out. And my sister Mimi said shooting works. Absolutely, Mimi. I knew she was going to like that when you said the shooting thing. I knew she was going to like that. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning into the People's Podcast. Thank you all very much. It's an extreme honor.
We do not promote violence. My father promoted being ready and staying ready. Absolutely. And he promoted being, you know, he put pressure on those that put pressure on the weak and the ones who couldn't take care of themselves. He didn't like that, you know, so we don't promote violence. We just want everybody to be fair and stay in their lane and don't bother anybody. Leave people alone, you know?
Absolutely.
So
beautiful. Well, I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting you all one day. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. I had so much more to say. Thank you.
Oh, no. Well, come on with it.
No, it's just that, you know, my thing is with my dad is that I think that people see him superficially, and I just want a forum that talks about the man, because in order to know someone fully, you have to know the man. He's a man first before he's a martial artist. And so to really understand what he was trying to do and the wisdom that he had, I just want people to understand what that was. He wasn't an ordinary person. He didn't do ordinary things. And there's no one like him. I don't care who kicks and punches, do whatever they do. It is similar to what he did, but it's not like him because the spirit of him is not always in them because they don't know the spirit of him. The eye to eye, the heart to heart, they don't even know what it means. It's not just words. Eye to eye and heart to heart are not just words, but he makes them say it all the time so that one day maybe they would internalize it and see what he means. The eyes are the mirror of your soul, and your heart is you, your intuition. If I tell you right now to point to yourself, you would point to your heart because that's who you are. So as a fighter, you have to eye somebody because you could see the spirit of that person and know just how far you can go with them. And heart to heart, you got to know how much heart that person has before you even attack. It's constant. It's a constant assessment. And I think people need to know that. I know he taught them on the mat. I know he did, but I don't think people remember. They just want the technique and they want to, who's going to get honored and and it's not that. My mother and my father both are the same. They never went for the honors. They both have trophies and plaques and stuff all over the place, but they don't even care about them. They're collecting dust somewhere. They honored what they did. They did not work for the honor. And so people, martial artists need to, this is simplicity of survival. This is something that we need, especially in this day and time. We need that. And so people need to start to really pay attention to what he was trying to teach them because they need it. And so do we. Whether me and you, Siddeeqah, you have guns, or you got guns. We need to start to train because we're in that time. Yeah. We need our children to train because we're in that time, and we need your children to train because we're in that time. Yes, ma'am. That's what I talked about, dissemination. I want him across the United States because we're in that time. I want him in every school because we're in that time. He can, if we do it the right way, they can get in there. We don't have to just use sanukas. We need martial artists, period, because we need to protect our young. We need them to have a future. And it starts with this simplicity of survival. They need to know him. That's all I'm trying to say. They need to know the man from childhood to adulthood. You need to know the pathophysiology of a thing. And they need to know that with him and to really understand him.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are showing you love in the comments as well. Well, your sister, Siddeeqah, was going to be working on the movie. Will you ever write a book or do more talks where people can get to know him who want to know him?
He's talking to you, sis.
No, I'm not the writer. Although I think I'm a writer, a writer. I'll do stuff for nursing. I'll be a panelist, that kind of stuff. I'm not really that dedicated to writing. I get kind of off the beaten path, and so, but definitely a book is necessary. We have to work on something eventually. If we get a ghostwriter or something, if Siddeeqah, because it's kind of emotional for us too, by the way. We're not just his fans, we're his family. And so it's different for us. Yes, ma'am. Sometimes the things that y'all can do, we're like, yo, I don't even want to be, because it's emotional for us. But definitely a book needs to be done. I know Siddeeqah has started a book in the past, but sometimes if it's touching you the wrong way, you just can't. And I don't know if y'all really understand that, but everything is timing,
And I think for me, when I started writing the book, it was right after he passed, and I just threw myself in it, and there were so many people to talk to. I was just like,
it's a big.
I can't with this. So whatever project I end up doing will probably be something that I just collaborate with my sisters on, because I need it to be manageable emotionally. For me, there's so many people that have their opinions, and I'm not really concerned with that, but there's so much I can learn just from my sisters, and that I learned today from my sister about us having the same memory of him swimming and liking the water and that kind of thing. So there's a lot that the world needs to know, but there's still more that I need to know. Y'all have to understand that he gave you time that took away from us. you know, he gave you everything. And so we made sacrifices as well. And so there's still a lot that I have to learn, and that I need to learn and want to know about my father, the man, that my sister, being a little bit, not much older than me, but a little older than me, can fill in the gaps for me. And so, you know, there's time that has to be spent on that front so that we can get something out for the masses, to educate the masses about Moses Powell, the man, the myth, the legend, all of that.
Absolutely. And so many people are saying, peace, this is true. They understand, and this is powerful. My sister's name is Peace Kelvin. So many people showing you all love. Hopefully, it was based off some of the people I've interviewed and screenwriters and things like that, and just authors. Man, we can do something. Whatever we can do to help you all, because we want to know.
I wish y'all knew how cool he was. Like, he was so cool. Like, he was the coolest, like the dopest ever, like, person. He was just dope, like super dope. That wasn't a word back then when he was coming up, but now it is. Like, he just is dope, you know, dope AF, as they would say, the youngsters would say.
Yes, ma'am. Do you all have any videos of him, video footage of him?
I have a couple of things here and there that I keep in my bedroom. Some things that are packed away. But a couple of things I have that that I've shown to my children and watched here and there.
I don't have any videos, just what I see on Facebook, and that's about it. But I have the videos of my life in my head. I could, you know what I'm saying? I have the visions of him. I have things that people can't ever touch. So I think y'all got everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all ain't got this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I do have, memories. I have we have great stories about him, actually. It's unfortunate it's such a short amount of time right now, but I'm sure Siddeeqah has great stories. I have great stories, funny stories of just being in the same house with him, it's a lot. It's a lot. He was definitely
character,
unique and authentic, and he was a character, absolutely a character.
Absolutely. And Brother Kelvin said he met him in Savior's Day in Chicago. He was smooth as hell. And my sister said, beautiful, so beautiful. Is there do you all have any stories of him being funny or like that, like relaxed when he's not like in, war mode and stuff like that?
Oh, he's always in war mode. There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
No.
The funniest thing, I don't know if Siddeeqah, but to wake him up in the morning, it was like, whose turn is it kind of thing, because we had to wake him up at a distance, right? We had to get a stick, my sister, and stick him and then move back because he would come up ready. He was always ready. So we were like, oh, come on, whose turn? Whose turn is it?
To wake this man up.
To wake him up. He slept really hard. He was weary. He was weary. And sometimes y'all made him sad, by the way, because y'all took so much from him and didn't give nothing back. Like you just kept taking even as a healthcare professional, sometimes your patients and your colleagues, they want so much from you. At the end of the day, you are exhausted from all of that giving. Not that you're not supposed to give, but he was weary. So when he slept, he slept.
Yeah.
Hard. Yeah. And you just kind of left him alone. My mother was also fearless in the sense that she washed his geese. And I was like, nobody don't want to do that. Nobody want to touch those geese at the end of the day, so yeah, I said I gotta mention that because those were no ma'am, no sir.
Yes,
he loved Sanford and Son.
Okay.
Oh no, he loved Richard Pryor. What?
Oh, okay.
Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Flip Wilson. Oh, he
liked comedy. He liked comedy.
Yeah. But he also liked the Mutual, I don't know, y'all young, but Mutual of Omaha, Animal Kingdom. He used to make us watch that. We were like, oh, come on. But it was actually good after a while. He would watch the animals instinctively fight, pick up techniques. He wanted to know what instinct made you do. And he would, you see how you're looking? He would be just like that, looking at it like, and me and my sister like, what is he doing? But eventually we were like, oh, it was pretty good. You learn things. But that's what he watched that, religiously. when we were coming up.
Okay, great. And my sister Miriam says, you all are his greatest legacy. Thank you for your sacrifice and sharing your dad with the world. Yes, thank you. Thank you all very much for sharing him with everyone. He was before my time. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I just hear so much. I just hear so many stories about him. So it's just an honor to that you all come on the podcast.
It's been an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Thank you all again.
Peace.
Thank you. Bye, sis.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too.